I've been playing Shinobi Art of Vengeance quite a bit lately. I've only streamed once because I don't think it's the kind of game that's enjoyable to watch in a stream because it has a lot of downtime. So I'll stream it when I'm actually more fast at playing the game, so I don't have to stop doing the platforming challenge and so on. But yeah, introduction aside, playing that game gave me the idea to make this video because I've kind of realized that what open world games are to 3D games, Metroidvanias are to 2D games, pretty much. So it's when it comes to 2D games, Metroidvania is the safe heaven for those kinds of games, because after the early 2010s, actually around 2014 and onwards, there has been an influx of these types of indie made games that were mostly 2D platformers with a sort of big map and Metroidvania elements, so exploration, unlocking power-ups, and going back to areas that were previously unreachable without specific power-ups. That's pretty much the basic gist of what a Metroidvania game is. And there's been a lot during the ages, the years. Starting from, I mean, the most famous ones, of course, are the ones that coined the term Metroidvania. So Metroid with Super Metroid and the Castlevania games, mostly the 2D ones that have started adopting the formula with Symphony of the Night. So after those years, there's been the popularization of this kind of genre when it comes to 2D games. They've become pretty much a dime a dozen, and nowadays you have games like Hollow Knight Silk Song, which I haven't played, but I've seen is doing rounds around the web because apparently it was a very anticipated game. Even though to me it doesn't look anything special, it looks like your average Metroidvania. So maybe if you're watching this video and you're playing that game, if you're a fan of that game, put in the comments why it has so much buzz around it, because I honestly don't get it. It seems like you're pretty average Metroidvania, nothing special about it. Maybe the art style, it's cutesy. Maybe that's an element of distinction compared to the other games, but I don't know. You tell me. I have no clue. But yeah, I was saying, and then yeah, this whole Metroidvania thing has gotten out of hand because even games that don't really need to be Metroidvanias are being made into one. And the latest example is Shinobi Art of Vengeance. Now I'm gonna make a specific video about Shinobi, explaining what I don't like about the game. Because yes, I've enjoyed it overall, but it also has been a bit tedious, mostly when it comes to the platforming parts, because I don't really like the approach they went with in regards to some things. So and I think like I said, the Metroidvania approach is ruining a lot of 2D games because publishers or maybe even indie devs feel the need to check this Metroidvania box to appeal to the lowest common denominator, probably. But I don't think it's actually something that's positive for the most part, because a lot of these games, especially ones that have a more fast-paced rhythm, don't really mesh well with the Metroidvania aspect, in my opinion. I guess it depends. If it's a slower paced game, it can kind of work to have a more big map that's explorable, and you can you can lose yourself in that map and check out various secrets and the environments if the art is cool and so on. But in games that are pretty frenetic, and Shinobi is one, it just kills the rhythm of the game, in my opinion. You have tons of moves. The characters moves fast. He's not he's fast, but then everything comes to a crawl because you don't have the power up to reach that part. You gotta come back. So and that's it. I think the game, yeah, it's okay for even fast-paced games to have like parts of the maps that are not accessible immediately, but I think it needs to be done in an intelligent way, because most games just don't do this. They just slap the Metroidvania elements in the fucking gameplay and that's it, it's done. They don't really adjust for the specific sensibilities that the game relies upon. So they just give you your standard Metroidvania experience, even if it doesn't really mesh that well. And it's actually detrimental for the most part to the game. So it's like every kind of game that's similar to this one is trying to be Hollow Knight or Ori and the Blind Forest. It doesn't work. That's why I say the open world games are pretty much the equivalent, but just for 2D games. For the Metroidvanias, it's just a formula that's being applied to a lot of games that really shouldn't be. Shinobi shouldn't have been Metroidvania. I guess Sega wasn't really confident in making, I don't know, a more classic game. I don't know how the development went, but someone wasn't confident making a more classic Shinobi title, because this is the demo wasn't showing these many flaws, in my opinion. There were maybe some signals in the demo that could maybe lead you to believe, but the demo was for the most part much better, in my opinion, than the final game. So please, developers, don't do like, if you don't think the game is gonna benefit from Metroidvania elements, either don't put them in or just put them in sparsely, because especially, like I said, if it's a fast-paced game, it's gonna kill the experience. It's gonna ruin the pace of your game. So, and like I said, not every game needs to have these elements. It's like publishers and some game devs are afraid that their game is gonna get enough traction if it doesn't pander to the casuals with these fucking things. But I think in the end, maybe you're gonna get some casual on board, but you're gonna lose some of your more hardcore fans by mixing elements that don't mesh well together, that design decisions that clash with each other, like in the case of Shinobi. And I'll make a proper video, like I said, to explain the problems I have with the game, which is not just too many Metroidvania elements in the levels, because if it was just that, it wouldn't be that much of a problem, but there's a bit more. So, like I said, what do you think about this? About the Metroidvanias in general? Because honestly, I think they are kind of overplayed at this point. I've played my fair share of them. Of course, I played all the Metroidvania Castlevanias. I played some of the Metroid games. I think it's 10 years since I played my last Metroidvania. My last Metroidvania was Strider, actually. Strider 2014, which was actually a pretty decent game, honestly. But yeah, after that, I really didn't like try another one, because the formula is gotten kind of stale at this point. It's the same thing. So I have no interest anymore. I've played, like I said, my fair share of them. But apparently they're pretty popular nowadays. So I don't know. I'm kind of done with them unless the setting and the characters really like are engaging and interesting to me. But it's very nowadays it's very rare for me to find something interesting. So like I said, let me know what are your thoughts about these Metroidvania games, because they are kind of meh at this point. And I'll catch you in the next video, which will probably be the Shinobi one. Bye bye, guys.